Welcome to MikeDiggity's guide featuring NuNu, the Yeti rider. In this guide, we will learn runes, masteries, summoner spells, what NuNu is, weaknesses, strengths, arriving to the lane, laning 1 through 6, ganking, early items to buy, first item to complete, your second item to build for, using your ult and how best to use it, your role in a team fight, Gear NuNu 1 through 18, and other builds for NuNu. For my rune page, unlike Freak, I take what I've got, and that's flat health quintessences, greater seals of vitality for HP per level, greater marks of insight for spell pen, greater glyphs of clarity for cooldowns per level. For my masteries, I do a 21-9 build, building down the offensive tree for spell power, cooldowns, and magic pen. In the defensive tree, I take the armor, magic resist, HP regen, extra HP, increased spell power, attack speed, and reduced damage. My first summoner spell and my D key, I take a passive ability, teleport, for mobility, easy laning early, and tower stealing, as well as port ganks. For my second summoner spell, I take flash and I make it my F key for easier use in combat. I take flash mostly for flash ulting, but also for chasing down my opponents and quick escapes. When laning levels 1 through 12, NuNu is a bully. He's able to repeatedly shoot Ice Blast for free and absorb incoming damage from enemies by consuming creeps. If you've ever been the repeated target of NuNu's Ice Blast, you'll know what I mean by being a bully. Early, NuNu is an easy laner, bringing a heal to the lane, free spells, speed, and slows. Because of this, NuNu does not work well with other support heroes because he is an off-tank support hero. NuNu lanes best with attack damage carries or ability power carries, who work well with NuNu's ult or benefit from his Blood Boil and Ice Blast slows. NuNu is a tank, but at his best, an off-tank, able to take aggro off the main tank with his ult, or to take aggro off a fleeing allied champion with his ult, speed buffs, and slows. NuNu brings mighty slows to his team, like Ashe does, but NuNu is a hound dog when it comes to slowing his opponents for his allies. NuNu can often use his speed to chase down opponents and repeatedly slow them for his allies to catch up and kill them. NuNu's not a carry hero. You're not going to get a ton of kills with NuNu. He's an off-tank support hero. He gets opponents killed and saves lives. Let's talk about NuNu's abilities and how best to use them. Visionary is NuNu's passive and means every 7 auto attacks, NuNu will be charged, making his next spell free of any mana cost. Using this passive to your advantage while laning allows NuNu to grief enemy champions for free with Ice Blast and or use Consume to heal for free. Consume is NuNu's personal heal. When used, it'll auto-kill any small creep and do significant damage to all large creeps. Consume is a great way for early recovery while laning, or even use it when fighting an enemy champion to heal during a fight. Blood Boil is one of the best buffs in the game, and when NuNu chooses another target other than himself for it, the target and NuNu will both receive the Blood Boil buff, so be sure to always click on someone else, preferably attack damage heroes. The cooldown for Blood Boil will come up right around the same time Blood Boil wears off, meaning it's nearly permanent. Ice Blast is NuNu's range grief and slow. The cooldown for his Ice Blast comes up just after the slow effect wears off its target, so when chasing a hero down, stay with them or just ahead to continue to keep them slowed for your team. Ice Blast is also a majority of NuNu's damage since he has a low auto attack damage for reasons having to do with his passive. Absolute Zero is NuNu's ult. NuNu channels for 3 seconds, slowing all enemies in a 2-inch area around him. After 3 seconds, all enemies are hit for massive damage. This effect can be activated early to hit heroes before they run out of the area of effect to do a smaller amount of damage. Absolute Zero is best used in the middle of your opponent. To start the game, I buy boots for the added mobility in lane and the speed to shoot my opponents every time with Ice Blast. I then pick up 3 HP pots. Why, might you ask? Think of it as mana conservation. If I'm potting to heal in lane, I'm not using my mana to consume, while I am using my Ice Blast to grief my opponents. Laning 1 through 6, your job is to shoot your target with Ice Blast while hitting creeps for free spells. The idea is to outlast your opponents. To do this, maximize the use of your passive while you use your ranged Ice Blast to grief your opponents. The strategy works very well against heroes who don't have healing ability. If they do have a lot of healing, I recommend a more passive laning behavior, but still always try and keep a free spell up. When you hit level 6, it's time for you to get a kill. That is, if you don't mess it up. You have 3 options instead of 2. Remember, we have the ability to port gank. You see allies getting in a fight, you can be there. You see mid at half-life and pushed, take him out. If you've been waning your opponents all game and want to kill them, you should have stopped pushing your lane at level 4 or 5 in preparation for this moment. This moment's your ult. The first item we build with NuNu is Banshee's Veil. The reason is for its passive in teamfights, because the best part of NuNu is his ult, and people will be trying to interrupt your ult with spheres, silences, stuns, knockaround spells as soon as they see you doing it. Banshee's Veil, or the BV, at least absorbs one of these spells, making it so your opponents have to at least use 2 to disrupt your spells and stop your ult. For NuNu, getting this kind of attention is good, because NuNu will be ulting to save an ally, and for those spells to be used on NuNu, they were never used on your ally. After your BV, finish your boots ASAP. You've got 3 choices. This might be an advanced concept for some of you, but it's called building to your opponents. Some people just talk about it. For tanks, I do it. There are 2 types of damage you can take in a game. Attack damage or ability damage. If you see your opponent's hero lineup are stacked heavily on one of these, you can take advantage of this by either building Ninja Tabby boots for attack damage heroes, or Mercury treads for casters and CC. If you want the extra speed for mobility and chasing down your opponents in a teamfight, grab the Boots of Swiftness. Your third item should be a Sunfire Cloak. With the Flame Cloak's armor, HP, and 40 magic damage to all things around you, you are now an armored tank. Farming, pushing will also be easier to you. You will also have a BV. When you get to this stage, squishy heroes will have a hard time putting a dent in you. NuNu heavily relies on his ult to make him a credible character. But because his ult is a 3-second channel that can be stopped by stuns, silences, fears, and knockaround abilities, experienced opponents will use these to shut NuNu down in teamfights. Because of this problem, I recommend you don't initiate teamfights. That's a role best for main tanks. I recommend you save your ult from when either your opponents have used their stuns, or to aid in a main tank's retreat. And if he does not, use it to pull aggro off of him, or retreating allies who did initiate. Your opponents will definitely take notice of NuNu's ult. It's part of the reason why it's so hard to get it off. I place myself between Blitz and our opponents in order to ult saving Blitz. When ulting, position is key. Try and make it so your opponents have to run past you to increase the chance of a full duration ult. Concerned for my teammates mid, I port to a ward in the bushes. Then I use Flash to quickly get in and ult. Flash with NuNu's ult is a great surprise, especially when cutting off escape or to save an ally. Amumu can't get to me in time, but sets them up for a bush ult. NuNu's ult in the grass is great for ambushes. Because your opponents can't see NuNu in the grass, they will most likely continue to walk into the grass. This also increases the chance of NuNu getting a full duration ult, because they can't target NuNu with spells to stop his ult. Remember that cat that got pounded in the beginning with Ice Blast, that was forced back 2 times before level 5? Yeah, well she's back. Me and Vlad, with our ults, disappear from the lane after pushing, planning something I can only describe as sinister. No, really, it's sinister as hell. Vlad's ult makes his opponents take an extra amount of damage from everything else. Paired with NuNu's, it's insane. Let's just say for good measure, when playing with NuNu, don't go looking for him. For NuNu, let's talk about your role in a team fight. For NuNu, your role in a teamfight is to assist your attack damage carry with Blood Boil, protect your team as a whole, chase down nearly dead opponents with slows, an ult either to pull aggro, distract your opponents by forcing them to run out, or to do massive damage to the opposing team. Getting attention and getting beat up is a good thing. NuNu has 5 roles to play in a teamfight. They are attack damage buff, a slow, a distraction, a kiter, and minor damage. You must use these 5 roles to aid your team in a team fight. Here you will see I'm with my attack damage carry, Olaf. Swain will come into the lane choosing poor pathing as we move back, leaving him open to assault. I retaliate upon their advance with Ice Blast. Soon after, when I know we're going in, I Blood Boil Olaf and get in the thick of it. I start my ult in hopes of slowing our opponents and grabbing attention for myself. Soon after, Malphite ults. Its use to stop my channel, but BV saves me from this interruption. Then, the opposing Fiddlesticks arrives, followed with a Crow silencing me and stopping my ult. I target Jarvan, who's almost dead with an Ice Blast, as the team's Fiddlesticks arrives, with his ult, shattering this uneven team fight. Meanwhile, Swain flees with Warwick hot on his tail. As our team's Olaf lies dead, the opposing Fiddlesticks joins him. Now, it's Fiddlesticks and I chasing the Zeus, one of the last three who started this fight. I blood boil Fiddlesticks. He flashes, fears, giving me enough time to Ice Blast him. With that slow, Fiddlesticks drains life, easily takes out what's left, and hey look, Swain's okay. Here you will see me move to mid to counter a 3-man push. As my friend Yi comes into lane, I serve the role as a slow and shoot Mundu with an Ice Blast. When Yi blinks to him, he makes short work of him. Now it's Sona. I then serve the role as an attack damage buff and blood boil Yi, allowing him to land that last hit he needed on Sona. Oh look, it's Pirate, coming from behind. Once more I serve the role as a slow and double that with a distraction. By that, I mean my ult. We then push the tower. Lux's ult takes out Kog'Maw, but Yi forgets about his passive and dies to it. Nonetheless, a successful team fight means 4 for the price of 1 and a tower. Here you will see I've discovered Kog'Maw in the bushes. Knowing I have the advantage, I serve the role as a slow and wail on him. With Lux's help, we put an end to him. Sona's ult lets Kog'Maw kill Lux. I get away fine, running to serve the role as an attack damage buff on our team's Pirate. I then see Zeus serve the role of a slow and fall back in the effort to draw him out and not take damage. Soon, I channel my ult, knowing they have no stuns. The enemy Pirate peeks his head out to take a step into my ult and take a shot at me. Quickly, I activate my ult to catch him with a slow and massive damage. He runs, but I am NuNu. Leaving Zeus nearly dead, I pursue the opposing Pirate, and my Ice Blast en route ends him. You've already seen the middle of this fight. Let's show you what led up to it and what happened after. I start by serving the role of a slow on Fiddlesticks, expecting his ult and looking to dodge it. I miss a good opportunity to ult when Amumu holds them. Our Fiddlesticks arrives, followed by the opposing team's Fiddlesticks, who kills our team's Fiddle. I follow my attack damage carry after an almost dead Warwick, slowed with an Ice Blast. Using my ult as a distraction, we managed to cut down their Warwick, Jarvan, Fiddlesticks. Now it's only Zeus and Malphite. Two hardy opponents. My slow on Zeus and blood boil on Olaf means Olaf makes short work of him. But I'm already after Malphite. I want an ace. I ping the map, saying, hey, forget about the creeps, come kill the tower while I tank it. Time is of the essence, and we do take it. Then we move to the inhibitor, and shortly after, we move and take their last remaining top tower. How to build NuNu. Well, we already know why we have these 3 basic items. It's about serving your role. Once you know how and what to do, then pick one of these 3 builds. I recommend Tank for beginners to NuNu, Ability Power for experienced users, and Attack Speed for advanced who want to try something exotic for NuNu. For Tank NuNu, I recommend you build any combination of these 7 items using your best judgment. Remember when I was talking about building to your opponents with those boots? Tank NuNu is exactly like that. Say you have a heavy attack damage team. Dorian's Shield, Blade Mail, Frozen Mallet works just fine. You have to main tank and they always burst you down. Angel Wings can fix that. Or say they have a heavy magic team. Why not build Warmog's Armor, Force of Nature, and then Angel Wings? Sounds pretty damn tanky to me. There's no best tanking gear for any tank. It's building to your opponents, and that's who's kicking your ass. With Spell Power NuNu, the damage lies in his ult and his Ice Blast. The extra heals from Consume are nice too. Because NuNu's ult scales with ability power, something like 175%, a little bit goes a long way. Attack Speed NuNu is about hitting your opponents as fast as you can, and the effects that happen when NuNu hits his target. With the Blood Boil on NuNu, it's actually kinda nasty. If you liked what you saw from this guide, please subscribe. Got questions, comments, and criticism? Head to my channel and leave them there. Let me know what heroes you want to see next, and let me know how I can make better guides for you. If
The original NuNu guide was 21 minutes long. Because I'm not a partner with YouTube, I can only post guides of 15 minutes or less, meaning I have to cut a lot of content out. Please subscribe, send me a friend request, and put me on my way to partnership.